one of the things people ask me is, what about my balanced lifestyle, work-life balance? You know, kind of a crock of shit, frankly. If you really want to achieve career success, you're just going to have to put in some times where you're going to be away from your family. It's going to be crunch time to get it done. I'm not saying forever, or certainly, you know, I love my family. I would never sacrifice my family. But when it came to like getting some big projects done or some things that were major in terms of increasing wealth for my family, then I would give up that time. There's no such thing as a balanced lifestyle. That is a crock of shit. It's significant to accomplish in your career. You just have to buck up and really put in the time and effort, and it won't last forever. And it's worth it. You don't want to have any regrets when your career is done and over. And also that laser focus is important just on any project. As an example, there was a team I went in, took over the poorest performing division in the company. There were 4 divisions. It had pulled down the ability of the company to be recapitalized, and the founders really wanted that to be done. It was their time to move on. And 5 years in a row, this division was poorest performing division in the company. I went around on sales calls with every single one of the 32 reps in that organization, and they had been led and reinforced with their job was about consulting customers. Nothing about generating revenue or how important that was. So, and they asked, what do we need to do to be successful? I said, your job is about maximizing your time in front of clients and revenue generating activity. Period. That's it. Expense reports, all the other things that need to be done, research, do after the time you can see your prospective customers and your customers, and get it across the finish line. The team heard that at least 200 times. Now, I've done this when it's just been me in terms of individual productivity, like working on a travel meta search company out of Eastern Europe, bringing in 140 partners part-time over the course of 2 years. Focus, focus, focus. Now, there are a few different areas in your life. There's the physical dimensions you need to take care of, spiritual, mental, career. All of those things are important. They'll never all be in balance. Get over it if you think that's true. Seek balance. It's something called homeostasis that we all seek, and that is to find balance. I'm not saying get out of balance, but certainly seek that in your life. Getting back to that story, this organization, our big push towards the end of the year, we had a meeting, Scottsdale, Arizona, with the team, and what I suggested to them is come with ideas on how to generate more revenue. They asked what was the attire for the meeting in terms of how they should dress. I said dress in a way that shows how you're going to blow out your number, how you're going to optimize your revenue. Oh my goodness. The things people wore, there was a pimp pumping incremental margin profitably. Of course, there was a couple super women, all of that. But the point is, it was very, very focused. The team knew what they needed to accomplish. I knew what they needed to accomplish. I came out with a lasso and a bullwhip and said, we're going to rope up your revenue and we're going to whip your clients into shape. Anyway, point was made. Finished out the year with that team finishing first for the first time ever and not last. And 2 years later, the company was able to recapitalize to sell the company. So that's really positive. That focus is really, really important. I know those of you that talk about your family being important, it's also important for you to be successful, to show that example to your family as well. And sometimes there are sacrifices that have to be made. That's my story. A work-life balance is a crock of crap. If you think you can ever get it fully balanced, seek that equilibrium or that balance. Peace out. Love you.